The supermarkets are now limiting shoppers to 3 or 4 of many grocery items after a wave, as we've seen, of panic buying. The industry and government says despite coronavirus measures, supply chains are still in place and there's no shortage of food or essentials. Now, 85% of the country's goods travel by road, and for supermarkets, it's practically everything. I'm now joined by the Road Haulage Association's Director of Policy, Rod McKenzie. Rod, very good morning to you. Just spell that out for me. Has there been any disruption because of the outbreak affecting your lorry drivers?
What's happening is that the supplies are getting through, but people are behaving in such a way that the stuff that's delivered overnight is then stripped from the shelves in quick time. And that's panic buying, not a failure of the supply chain. And lorry drivers and others are working incredibly hard to keep the nation stocked, as they always do, with the things they need to buy in the supermarket.
So let's just go through points just to see, effectively how the supply chain is doing, and just, hopefully, reassure people, to calm down and not to strip the shelves, as you say. What about actually getting goods into the country, first of all? Has there been any disruption there?
Well, there's certainly been delays in 1 or 2 places, but disruption not in such a way that it disrupts the supply chain. I'll try and give you some examples. For example, there have been delays on the border crossing between Austria and Italy. There have been delays between Poland and the Czech Republic. And there's been slightly more traffic backing up in the Calais-Dunkirk area because the Eurotunnel and the ferry operators are operating slightly fewer services. But that's not affecting the supply chain. The goods themselves on the back of the lorry, some of which may not be food, are getting through. There's just a bit of a delay. So the key point, and the key point for the supermarket's viewpoint, is we're getting the stuff. It's okay. There's no need to panic, and the stuff is getting through to the supermarkets as it should.
How much resilience is there in the system? I'm thinking perhaps in terms of the numbers of drivers, particularly if some drivers start becoming ill, having to self-isolate and aren't able to work.
Well, we have a traditional shortage of drivers in this country, and so you're right, we certainly want to keep them well. In some respects, in terms of self-isolation, as it were, or social distancing, I should say, sitting in a cab, driving a load is good for that. I think the problems we've had are twofold. One is there have been some distribution centres this week that have been reported as refusing drivers toilet facilities and hand washing facilities. This is disgraceful. It's against the law. It's against health and safety guidance. And why would you want to treat a lorry driver who he or she has just brought you the things you need? Why to deny them the right to wash their hands is outrageous, immoral, and unlawful. So we shouldn't do that. And obviously all these things help keep lorry drivers well, which is what we want. And your point about resilience is that companies everywhere have got a backup plan, and they're working on their backup plan in case drivers become ill or have to self-isolate.
You mentioned the drivers being refused at distribution centres in terms of the toilet facilities there. Where would drivers go to actually, if they were in that situation, who would they contact? As you say, this is against health and safety policy, this is against the law. Who do they get in touch with to actually stop that?
Well, our lobbying with government has produced a letter which is available from us on our website, and indeed from most employers. It's a health and safety letter from the government which says Basically, you've got to let this driver use the loo and wash his hands or her hands, and I think that's really important. And I think the other thing that we're seeing at distribution centres sometimes is drivers, when their loads are being unloaded by someone else, they're being put in a kind of waiting room area with lots of other drivers, and that's not sensible because, again, that's not social distancing. So those companies that are doing that are getting it wrong, and we'd rather drivers stayed in their cabs, indeed, or were able to kind of move around and stretch their legs, which is much healthier.
Now, this morning we've seen the list of key workers. This is relating to those whose children will still be accepted at schools because they have to work. Drivers of lorries, people working in logistics are included on that list. First of all, presumably that is welcome in terms of actually keeping the supply chains moving. But if there are further measures over the coming weeks, is there any word from government, that presumably you're speaking at the moment, about whether there will be more restrictions that your drivers would be, I suppose, immune from?
I'm not aware of the government's next steps, which is, I think, what you're asking, Nick. The classification of people who work in the logistics supply chain as essential workers is absolutely crucial, was absolutely crucial, and it's very good news that that's happened. And obviously that gives them some cover in terms of childcare and schools and all the rest of it when schools are shutting down for other people. And that is absolutely essential for us all, not just for the workers themselves, but let's face it, for us all, because we need the supply chain to be as strong and robust and resilient as it is now.
Rod McKenzie, Director of Policy at the Road Haulage Association. Thank you, Rod, very much indeed.